Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining the live stream tonight. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell so you will be notified when more content and live streams are going up on the channel. Um, with the election year upon us and with everything that is going on within society right now at this moment, this particular topic I felt was very necessary because a lot of the rhetoric that I'm seeing in the media, on social media, and just in general among, friends and family is that under President Donald Trump, race relations in America got worse. And I really want to discuss that because I feel like oftentimes it's very easy to pinpoint an issue and place blame on an individual. But I think that what we're doing, rather, what we're failing to do as a society, is understanding that Donald Trump did not really make race relations worse, but what he did was reveal a dormant issue that has been going on in our society, honestly speaking, for many, many decades and generations. Um, I want to point you guys' attention to a survey that I reviewed on Pew, a Pew survey, where it says that 56% of Americans feel as though Donald Trump, they agree that Donald Trump made race relations in America worse. And there was three key things that this poll revealed about the people that participated. And this poll consisted of about 6,600 people. And the three key things that were pointed out in this poll that the people agreed upon was that one of them was that most Americans agree that Donald Trump has made race relations worse. Most Americans say people are more likely to express racist views since Trump's elections, and people feel after Trump, race related are still politically polarized. So here's my issue with that. I feel that it's either people don't remember, don't want to remember, or just fail to realize that these issues have been going on prior to Donald Trump's presidency. I remember seeing an article where it says that Trump's numbers are declining in the polls because most people feel that his racist views are going to hurt him this time around in the presidential election. And you know how I feel about that is that many people are not understanding that one person is not going to solve the race issue in this country. And I feel that as individuals, we need to take some time and sit down and think about what we want as a society and how we plan to move forward if we want to coexist in this nation as different racial groups. We're going to have to we're going to have to face some tough truths about what is actually going on in this country. Because what I feel is that especially under President Obama's time in office, it kind of lulled a lot of people back to sleep. Um, People who felt certain types of ways and had certain bigoted views, some of them kind of went and hid out because they didn't want to be ostracized. And people are saying that, with Trump coming into office, those people feel emboldened and they feel like now that there's a president that can give them a voice to express their bigoted views. Now, the issue with that is that President Trump, as I was saying before, President Trump didn't really give people a voice. What President Trump did was he ripped a band-aid off of that had been placed on society to where people felt like, it was things were improving, but we weren't really facing the facts about what is actually going on in this country. And I feel that, in my opinion, what Donald Trump, he actually help to open our eyes to what is really going on in the country, because it's very easy for people to get complacent and to get comfortable and to feel like everything is okay when people are being silent about how they feel. And my issue is, I don't understand why people, I really don't understand good about living comfortable lives instead of, facing the realization that there are some hard truths that must be discussed if we plan to ever make progress in this country. One second. As I was saying, if we ever plan to make progress in this country, we're going to have to face some really tough truths about society. I don't feel that the issue as far as race relations goes is going to be solved by any presidential candidate. It doesn't matter to me personally if people felt more emboldened by Donald Trump. As I said before, I personally feel that that was a good thing for society, because now those people can wean themselves out. They can come out and they can be identified for how they truthfully feel. I don't feel good for people to say it is helpful, because one thing that I can say about Trump's presidency, as I stated before, Trump ripped a band-aid off a very ugly wound in society that many people did not want to face. Personally, I feel like under Obama and other presidents, especially under Democratic leadership, a lot of people
All right, you want to go? It's back. You want to go?
not necessarily.
Yeah, it's just actually, it's already in.
Huh?
Yeah, it's back. You're live. It's showing like it never went out. I know. It's back. It should be coming back. Yeah, it's back.
Hey guys, so I'm back up here. I do not have any idea what happened with the live stream. The connection was lost. The channel would not load. Not sure what that was all about. But I just want to go ahead and jump right back into it. What we were discussing as far as race relations, and many Americans agreeing that Donald Trump is the reason why race relations has worsened in the country. And before the stream was cut, I was asking for people in the chat if you agree that Donald Trump has heightened problems within race relations. You can go ahead and leave your comment in the chat. I want this to be somewhat of an open discussion about how people are feeling. What is the general feeling about how race relations has either gotten worse, or if you feel they remain the same, if you feel they're getting a little bit better. As I was stating before, I do not feel that race relations got any worse under Donald Trump. What I do feel is that under Donald Trump, with him being very vocal about how he feels about certain things, and not having such a presidential approach to how he discusses different things in regards to race. And, one of the most polarizing things that he said while he was running for president the first time, and the reason why a lot of people are saying that he came out of the gates making things worse as far as race relations go, is his comments about Mexico and Mexicans coming to the country, bringing drugs, raping, those sorts of things. People feel that gave people who have those types of views a voice to come out and be vocal about how they feel about different particular groups of people. But in my opinion, as I was stating before, I don't feel that that is a bad thing for society. I feel that too often we get very comfortable and complacent with living with comfortable lives. As I said before, as long as we feel good, then we can kind of ignore the reality of the situations that we're dealing with in society. As I was stating before, I feel like under past presidents, President Barack Obama in particular, people were able to kind of not pay attention to the race issue. Black people felt comfortable with it. They began to feel good about themselves because there was a black president. But people weren't really paying attention to everything that was going on behind the scenes as far as race relations is related. And I feel that within that time frame, we lost a lot of time that we could have had to deal with the issue of race in America, because race in America is one of the biggest issues that we're facing today. Very much so on a systematic level. And I feel that Trump he actually did society a favor, because as I was stating before the stream got cut, I feel as if Donald Trump ripped a band-aid off of a wound that we were trying to mask as a society, because when you talk about race, it's a very difficult thing to talk about on both ends of the spectrum. Primarily with black people, a lot of times we don't want to have the conversations about race because people like to accuse us of pulling the race card and making everything about race. So then that kind of diminishes the conversation. And then on the other end, white society doesn't really like to talk about race because they feel as if they're not responsible for a lot of the things that have historically taken place in society, and they don't want to deal with the backlash that comes along with talking about racism. It makes a lot of people feel very, very uncomfortable. But what we have to understand is that if we're ever to get anywhere as a society, we're going to have these tough conversations, and we are going to have to deal with the uncomfortable hard truths, and we can't keep on masking the issues with comfortable lies, putting our feelings over facts, and not dealing with things in society for what they are. I'm the type of person that I like to deal with the truth no matter how hurtful it can be, because when someone tells me the truth and when I see things for what they really are, I'm able to make a decision based in truth. I know exactly what I'm up against, and in my opinion, when you're dealing with truth and you're dealing with things as they are, you're able to find real solutions because people are putting their true feelings out on the table, no matter how hurtful that may be. And as long as we continue as a society to be willing to deal with the comforts of comfortable lies, we're never going to get to a place where we can have true diplomacy and race relations that will work for everyone in this country. As I was stating before, under some of the more liberal presidency, people, they kind of lull themselves to sleep. And it was very easy for people to diminish this issue because it wasn't so abrasive and people weren't so vocal. But when you think about it, when people are saying how they truthfully feel about something, then that puts everything out on the table, and it makes it very easy for us to identify the problems. It makes it very easy for us to identify the people in society that are not forward thinking and that don't want to see things change for the better. So that is pretty much in a nutshell how I feel about people saying that Trump made race relations worse in this country. In my opinion, I don't totally agree with that. I do think that people were able to be more free about their bigoted opinions, or just be more truthful about how they feel about different things as it relates to race. Because it's not always about being a bigot. Sometimes people just want to shy away from the race problem because it's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about for many people. I'm not uncomfortable with talking about it because I feel like it's a necessity. if we say that we want to be if we say that we want to be in this society and we want to coexist and we really want to get to the type of nation that everyone claims that we're capable of being, if we're not being honest about how we feel and we're not putting everything out in the open, then I fear that this is something that will never ever become a reality, and we'll continue to be revisiting these same issues 20, 30, 40 years down the line, because people are not having the real truthful conversations that need to be had about how we're going to make society a better place for everyone. In the comments, Vontae Vid says, let's say he's black. That would change a lot of perspective towards him. Am I right? I'm not really sure if that would be the case. It's a very real possibility that people may see things differently if he was black. But like I said before, what happens is that when people see a black face out front, they automatically feel that that's some form of progress. And truthfully speaking, that's not always the case, because sometimes when you have a token of change out in the open, then people can rely on that token to say, see, things are getting better. But we're not dealing with reality. We're not dealing with society as a whole and how people really truthfully feel about race relations in this country. You know, a lot of times people want to deal with the surface level and look at everything that's being flashed in front of us as symbols of change. But like I said, we're not dealing with the underlying issues that are really going to bring about real change as far as race relations go in this country. It's not something that one person can bear all the blame for. It's not something that one political party is going to be able to fix. It's going to be up to all of us as a society to come together and brainstorm and figure out what we can actually do towards bringing about some real change as far as race relations go. Back in the comments, Real Deal Radio says they would hang him if he was black. Okay, I'm not quite sure why you feel that way. If you could kind of elaborate on why you feel that they would hang him if he was black. Are you saying that if he was out in the open about how he really felt about race issues in this country, that he would face that type of retaliation as being a black person by speaking truth about how he feels about different racialized topics? So I'm going to wait for Real Deal Radio to respond. He says, yes, exactly. And that's my issue with as far as race relation goes in this country. Because as I was saying before, I feel like if we're ever to get to a real, truthful discussion about how we are to fix the race problem in this country, we are going to have the hard conversations. People cannot continue to do what makes them feel good and think that we're ever going to get to some real progress in this country. All we're going to continue to do is put a Band-Aid on a massive wound, and we're not really fixing the issues. And I feel like that is the most harmful thing that we can do. I honestly don't feel like someone getting up to a podium and saying how they feel about a certain group of people or whatever the case may be is more of a problem than people hiding how they really feel. How are we to ever get to a place where we can find real solutions if people are just going to continue to hide behind a wall and disguise how they truthfully feel? Real Deal Radio says America doesn't like the truth. And that is 100% true, because we can see that throughout time and generation after generation, the biggest problem that we have had was holding a mirror up to society and dealing with this issue in the country as far as race goes. It's something that people want to continue to shy away from, because when we hold the mirror up to society, we have to face the fact that we haven't made as much progress as we would like for the nation or the world to think that we have made. And I think that that is a big issue for everyone in the country, because we're not really making progress. Like I said before, we continue to have these symbols of progress, but we're not getting down to the underlying issues of how we're really going to deal with the race problem in this country. So if anyone doesn't have anything else that they would like to add to the conversation, I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream. I apologize to everybody who was watching before when the stream got cut short. I don't really understand what went wrong with that. There was some technical issues going on with YouTube. So I would like to continue this conversation in another chat. If there's anything that anyone would like to add to the next conversation, please go ahead and think about what you would like to say, so that we can further this conversation on a later date. Again, if you're new to the channel and you'll be watching in the playback, or if you're in the live chat right now, please go ahead and subscribe. Also hit the like button, share the video, and hit the notification bell, so you will be notified when new information and new videos are going up on the channel. Again, thank you for everyone that came into the live stream tonight. Thank you for all of your input and comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.